The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights is set to consider the report on reconciliation, human rights and accountability in Geneva tomorrow. Now, the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka in Geneva said that Sri Lanka's report will be considered in the first session.
A resolution headed by the United States on Sri Lanka was passed at the United Nations Human Rights Commission on the 1st of October 2015. Sri Lanka also acted as co-sponsors on this resolution. At the UNHRC session in March 2017, Sri Lanka was granted an extension of a period of 2 years to fulfill these obligations. Tomorrow, the High Commissioner on Human Rights is due to present a complete report on the completion of the recommendations on the report. The actions taken on Sri Lanka by the Office of the Human Rights Commissioner will be based on the findings of these reports. A group representing the government, including Foreign Minister Tilak Marapana, arrived in Geneva to respond to the claims that are included in the report. Meanwhile, a fresh resolution on Sri Lanka concerning reconciliation, human rights and accountability is set to be presented at the Human Rights Council in Geneva by a core group including Britain. The government has also announced that they are prepared to co-sponsor this resolution so as to get a 2-year extension period. What do you think will happen at the Human Rights Commission this time around?
Sending a delegation to Geneva is a joke. That our ambassador in Geneva, Ambassador Assis, he has already signed it, so there's no point in sending a delegation to Geneva.
Yesterday, the representatives of the joint opposition met His Excellency the President and requested that he get involved and issue an order to ensure that Sri Lanka in no way agrees to co-sponsor any resolution on the country.
Meanwhile, thoughts were expressed on the situation in Sri Lanka in sessions that took place today.
The Sri Lankan state, however, has not only gone after the Tamil liberation movement, but also any individual or institution that has in its perception supported the Tamil struggle for self-determination. Media institutions, journalists and media workers have been amongst the worst affected. Of the 48 media persons that were killed during the war, 41 were Tamil who were targeted by the state. Even amongst the 7 non-Tamils who were killed, at least 2 of them were killed for exposing state atrocities against the Tamils. The Sri Lankan state's latest target is the media institution Tamil Tandi. Its staff are being continuously threatened by the TID for publishing an article about a martyr who struggled for the right to self-determination. This is despite the government's assurance to this council that it will repeal the PTA. For as long as the UN and this council treats the right to self-determination with mere tokenism, those who truly struggle to realize this inalienable right will continue to be victims. I thank you.
A hartal took place across the northeastern provinces today, demanding that Sri Lanka not be given an extension to fulfill the promises made at the UNHRC. As a result, shops, banks and all other institutions were closed. Our reports indicate that transportation activities were also affected. A large group, including the relatives of those who are missing, university students and politicians, carried out a walk in Batiklo along with the hartal.
Now, views regarding the government's plan on co-sponsoring a rollover resolution during the 40th regular session of the UNHRC were expressed in Parliament as well today.
As per Article 32 of the Constitution, to do all such acts and things not consistent with the provisions of the Constitution or written law as by international law, customs or usage, the President is authorized or required to do so. It is this article that gives authority to enter into an agreement with a foreign country. I inquired from President Sirisena whether he had permitted to co-sponsor the resolution for another 2 years. The President had not granted permission in such regard. When GLP Riss was the Foreign Minister, Sajin Vasgunawardena was appointed above him. Powers were decentralized. He was empowered to even assault the ambassador. That's how foreign politics were established. This is the issue at present. The current Foreign Minister, Tilak Marapana, is not aware and informed of the decisions that are made by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Even the Secretary of his ministry is not aware of such decisions. So, who is responsible for such decisions? Certain decisions are not made at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Certain meetings of the Ministry of Finance take place at the Finance Minister's residence. State officials or ministers do not attend these meetings. Such meetings are only attended by NGO personnel and friends. Who gives orders to the Sri Lankan ambassador in Geneva? Manotittawalla. Who is Mano Titavalla? He is an individual who represents and speaks on behalf of everyone. What position does Mano Titavalla hold in the government? What right does he have to make decisions regarding Sri Lankan foreign politics? I ask everyone, do you approve this? After the USA withdrew from the UN Human Rights Council, there is no allegation against Sri Lanka. From the president who gave orders to the soldiers, their lives are in danger.
We were
isolated from the international community. Our country was on edge for economic sanctions. After the 2015 elections, during these few years, we have succeeded in reducing international pressure. The resolution has even praised Sri Lanka several times. Is co-sponsoring the resolution right or wrong? It's a different matter. This resolution will not negatively impact our country. Officials of the UNHRC told me, as well as the politicians of the North, that if devolution of power in the country can be achieved, provincial councils can be further strengthened. It was Mahinda Rajapaksa who jailed the most important war hero, Sarath Fonseca. They do not have to speak of the international community. This is something regarding the future. Who will believe them? This is not regarding the protection of war heroes. These are narrow political agendas.